极大的神定，为此发挥一切众生，行转妙法轮，教导我们如何了生脱死，离苦得乐，速证无生。Will the Sangha with great virtue, out of compassion, for the sake of this assembly and all living beings, please turn the wonderful Dharma wheel to teach us how to leave suffering and attain bliss and end birth and death and quickly realize non-birth.
Namo tassa bhagavato arahato sama sambuddhassa.
Namo tassa bhagavato arahato sama sambuddhassa.
Homage to the blessed, noble, and perfectly enlightened one.
Homage to the blessed, noble, and perfectly enlightened one.
Namo sadanto suchedoye alahadi samya samputtoshe.
Namo sadanto suchedoye alahadi samya samputtoshe.
无上甚深微妙法，百千万劫难遭遇。我今见闻得受持，愿解如来真实义。Supreme and wondrous Dharma, subtle and profound, rarely is encountered even in billions of eons. But now we see and hear it and accept it reverently. May we truly understand the Buddha's actual meaning. All right. Appreciate the Dharma request. Hello, everybody, once again. My name is Heng Shi, and you can see me here in your Zoom screen if you care to. I will be shifting back and forth between my sharing my screen with all the poems and also with my face on your Zoom link here. So let's begin to say, again, this is the 27th observance of Master Hua's entering Nirvana. And I think there have been, over the 27 years, many ways to remember our teacher, to acknowledge his contribution. And it occurred to me that I am not alone in very much appreciating Master Hua's literary output. Many people know him as a Chan master. We know him as a Vinaya master. We know him as a Tripitaka master. We know him as a mantra master. And probably many people know him as the leader, pointing to the Pure Land master. But how many people know Master Hsuan Hua as a literati, as a Wenren? So that's what I wanted to celebrate this time. We know him as a mantra master, and probably many people know him as the leader pointing to the Pure Land. Somebody is leaking in. There we go, one of our translators. Before we begin, I want to appreciate the kindness and the generosity of our translators who are volunteering to take the words that I'm saying in English and Chinese and put them into Vietnamese. They do that for the love of the Dharma, and there's tremendous merit and virtue in doing that. 还没有开始，我要先跟大家说感恩我们这个义工就发心把我所讲的中文、英文翻译越南话这个你能帮助其他人明白佛法， 你将来所获的果报就是有很多机会的，来生就可以遇教佛法。For the pause, that's okay. This is all experience. If you have YouTube open on your computer, you get your own echo and it's delayed. All right, there we go. Thanks, Ben. You let us know about that. Yeah. Okay, we're back. I am co-host again here, so I'll share my screen and close that. There we go. Okay. So I wanted to announce to the English listeners that this is going to be a bilingual lecture. And we don't have a simultaneous translator. I'm going to be translating myself. So you get to hear everything I say in English in Chinese. You get a chance to practice your Chinese. 你们想听中文的人也有机会练习你们的英文，因为我自己帮自己翻译普通话，所以想跟着玄公上人的他的教导，我们一定要就增长我们的语言的能力，讲话的能力，外国语也是非常有用的。如果想弘扬佛法，以弘扬佛法为自己的责任，能讲不会英文的人就学习英文呢，不会中文的人就学习中文呢，那就是这个世界增长光明。Okay, so here we are. Our topic is called Master Hua's Literary Legacy, Establishing Merit, Virtue, and Teachings. You'll notice on the screen there, if you can see the screen, here we go. Okay, you will see a link. What is this? This is a link to a book. And I'm going to stop sharing my screen now and show you the book that I'm talking about. I've got a copy right here. Can you all see? If you can look on your Zoom screen, you can see me here. This is a large book in a wooden box. Actually, it's got a cardboard, it's one of those boxed books, right? With a Jingzhuangben, with a hard case. This was published. It was compiled by the nuns, the disciples of Master Hua, and it contains all of Shifu's literary output. And I want to say that I relied heavily on this book for my preparation of today's lecture. You can see it's beautifully illustrated by Hong Longshi, our nun, who is very skillful at layout. But it contains, it's a long text. There are a total of, how many pages here? 470 pages. And that it's all in Chinese. So I'm teasing you English readers. You're really going to have to learn Chinese to be able to benefit from it. But Chinese readers will love this. And I'm going to show you in this link here, which I'll paste into the chat box and hope some folks will pick it up here. I'm going to make this available to everybody. If you're on Zoom, this will make sense. If you're on YouTube, someone will forward it to you. So let's click on that. Let's take that link. 这本书呢是我重用的这个在准备今天的讲座那个要先去 BuddhistTexts.org Buddhist 这个网站，这是什么？这是我们翻译经书那个国际翻译这个国际经院的这个网站我们师父讲的经书，他的论呢，他很多你可以看到那么多不同那个经典啊、前世啊、开示啊、传记、忏本，还有其他。Okay, I'm going to direct everybody's attention. Should you want to get a copy of this, go to our Buddhist Text Translation Society, BTTS, and go to bookstore. And then here in Chinese, you go down to the bottom. It says Chita, others, not sutras, not commentaries, not Dharma talks, not biographies. It is other texts. And what do you find? You find right here, special publications. 其他就是特别的书籍是什么？ 上宣下化老和尚机藏歌咏转机精装本40块美金。Here it is. This is the very text that I used to prepare. It's a wonderful text produced particularly by our nuns after Master Hua's Nirvana. They really devoted a lot of effort to gathering all of Shifu's literary output. And I'm going to go now from the website to the page that I had up and read the Chinese because it's really well done. This blurb, this is the blurb from the website. 我们的网站就说你可以请我们国际易经学院把你们送一本上宣下化老和尚积赞歌咏转集那么他的这个介绍，他的简介怎么说呢？就宣公上人一生开演大乘经书数十本上座说法万余次那么多次，以种种法门化道众生，击颂对联歌咏也是其中的殊胜法门。上人以慈悲和智慧信手拈来的精简法句，真实捕捉到经典咒语、文章和转机的精髓。本书共售尽数2000首，2000首，大约470多页2000首的击颂对联，并以庄严的国文片排方式出版。希望无论是在东方或西方，现在或未来，有众多的修行人将因此本转集获得解脱与智慧。All right, it's a beautiful introduction, but what it says, and this is again, this was this was still hearing 2 or more streams. Are the translators happily blocking off their? I'm hearing. Is anybody hearing 2 streams? Ben says he is. Hearing the translated voice as well, that won't do. We want to be sure that the translators are not going over into the other mic. All right. Now, question. Someone is saying, is there an electronic version? Not yet. 还没有。这本书呢，就是一个精装本，没有电子版这个也没有英文的翻译，所以 OK。好的所以呢，我就说今天的题目呢你不会中文呢，那你不懂所以呢，我们一定要把这些师父的这个文字的译产翻译成其他的国家的语文。So the reason why I picked today's topic is because many people know Master Hua as a Chan master. We know him as a Tripitaka master, lecturing every single night of the time that he was in the West. He was a Vinaya master, transmitting the precepts, creating the Sangha. He was a Pure Land teacher, giving us the story of the Pure Land. He was an ascetic monk. People know Shifu as the Kuxing Sang. He was a mantra master, introducing the Shurangama mantra, the Great Compassion mantra, and the 10 small mantras. But very few people are aware of Shifu's output as a poet. He wrote verses, he wrote poetry, he wrote praises, he wrote rhymed couplets, he gave us English language mantras, he gave us songs, some in English, some in Chinese, and he gave us essays. This volume that you're looking at is a collection made by our nuns, and I believe a few monks contributed, but the hard work, the heavy lifting was done by the Bhikshunis, and they amassed over 2,000 entries, over 470 some pages in this text. Today, I have selected these. The Beggar from Tall White Mountains, Not Changing My Citizenship, Demons Polish the True Path, Everything's a Test, The Mute Speaks Dharma, Pick It Up, Let It Fall, Secrets of Chan Meditation, The Patience Mantra, in commemoration of Paul Cardinal Yubin, the Dharma Realm Verse, White Universe, couplets from 佛教讲堂, I'm really lucky, and until empty space ends, 尽虚空, and then concluding with the 3 principles of Gold Mountain Monastery. Let's see if we can get through. I'm going to have to go pretty quickly. This may be a little too ambitious, but we'll try our best. And if we run out of time, and if people like, I have selected some for a second go-round. The preface to the Song of Enlightenment, the 10 Dharma Realms, a song that Master Hua wrote for the Bowing Monks, and a mention of the prediction poems of Bu Xu Changshi, just a mention, because that's deep water, and it was not Shifu's writing. So that's my plan. 那大家知道这本书可以去我们的网站可以订他们会寄给你，这是一本书，不是电子版。今天从那个2000多首寄送什么的，我都选择长白其事，不改果迹，魔是魔正道，警戒哑巴说法，提得起放得下，禅定的绝技忍辱咒这是一个咒文英文的咒玉斌书记纪念法界记宇宙白佛教讲堂，这个香港佛教讲堂的对联还有呢2首歌，就是 I'm Really Lucky 还有尽虚空如果时间允许的话，最后就是金山寺3大宗旨如果大家喜欢可以安排第2次看哪一天呢改天再来，我们师父讲那个正道歌的序文，还有那个十法界寄送还有一首歌，就是上人给这个三不一拜的修行人写的一个英文歌不虚和尚他那个预言100年的这个来的事情呢，就可以提到不研究，因为这并不是上人的所讲的。Okay, are we ready? I think all of the introductions are done. Let's take a look. Now, I asked some of Shifu's longest in years disciples, one in particular is Madalena Tamujie, and I said, if you could pick, you've known Shifu longest probably of any of us, if you had a choice of which poems you would like, she said, let's do this one. This is the one that catches the essence of the Shifu whom I knew. So we start with this one. 这个第一首是长白骑士。我问我们法总可能认识师父年纪可能最长的一个谭居士谭木杰，我问他，如果你选择一首，你就说是你觉得这首词这首寄颂不是词是寄颂，是代表上人的这个最恰当。他说那我们就用这个开始。长白骑士性寒之，助人利他唯恐迟。未发亡躯存生命，应病余药使随疲。愿通10万成一体，行尽虚空摄万机。无去无来无现在，亦无南北与东西。The beggar from the tall white mountains is simple and honest in nature. He's always quick to help people and benefit others. Forgetting himself for the sake of the Dharma. He's willing to sacrifice his life, giving medicines to treat people's illness. He'll give you his marrow or his skin. His vow was to unite as one with millions of beings. His practices last till space breaks apart, as he gathers in us all, transcending past, future, and present, beyond north, south, east, and west. some people know that Master Hua, when he got to America, refused to take an American passport. He kept his Asian passports. And when people ask him, gee, here you are, don't you want to have all the benefits of being an American here? He said, no, I'm not going to change. And this poem explains. 有的人不知道，师父在美国30多年了，到时候永远都没有拿着美国护照，他就是保留他这个原来的护照。有人问他，他为什么不要享受那么多到了美国很多好处啊？他说还是不改国籍了。他就用这个寄送来答复。他说：“中华混乱数十年，伤时感事泪成泉。此生愧惧回天手，往昔难堪落日喧。仕途崎岖人诡诈，宦海浮沉彼此间。出家未忘。” 忠贞日，保持国际，为本源，溯本源。China has been in chaos for many decades, with injuries and wrongs piling up until our tears flowed like a river. In this life, I've known shame at my inability to turn the tide of events. In the past, how hard it was to play the setting sun lute. The world's roads twist and turn, people and ghosts deceive. The ocean of bureaucrats bobs and rolls, friends and foes contend. After leaving the home life, I did not forget my first loyal heart's allegiance. So I prefer to stay a Chinese and trace my roots back to their source. All right. Any one of these poems could generate a lecture. If I did a typical sutra lecture style, I'm not going to do that. I want to let folks get their own flavor from these poems. 本来星期天晚上在万佛城，尤其大家在念诵华严经19天了，现在在万佛城。本来星期天晚上讲经都要讲我想不要大家不要听我所讲的这些诗词寄颂那么可以讲了像一个妙字讲不完了就不要这样说，让大家自己欣赏每一首寄颂。Okay? Now, Shifu loved language. He, from his early days as a schoolboy, he was able to use eloquence to just enjoy the beauty of the Chinese language and these Chinese characters. So here's an example. This is a talk for cultivators. This is a Dharma talk, and it's called Demons Polish the True Path. And the word for demon is mo, but notice the word that starts the second line is also pronounced mo. And he uses this homophone, sort of a pun in Chinese, to illustrate an unforgettable teaching about the nature of demons that can come to trouble and challenge and ultimately accomplish cultivators. They say the Buddha could not have become the Buddha without the help of the demons. So look at Shifu's love of language in this text. 商人真的从他年轻的时候做小学生的时候， 他对于汉字，对于中文非常爱好。他呢，你看这个寄送呢，是告诉我们修行人，魔是不要怕的，魔魔王来考试修行人，那个修行人依靠魔的折磨才能正果所以呢，就说佛是魔成的，没有魔王来，令那个修行人呢，就虔诚，那就说佛是没办法成果了，正果了。所以呢，上人就用魔这个字，然后魔就是折磨这个字来比很有趣来，魔是魔真道，真道才有魔，魔的真光亮，光亮更要魔，魔的如愁月，空中照春魔，春魔既退了，现出自性佛。Demons polish the true path. Only when one's path is true do the demons come. The more they polish, the brighter you get. When polished till you shine like the autumn moon, then in space you illuminate the hordes of demons. When the hordes of demons all retreat, the Buddha of your inherent nature appears. Some of Shifu's poems were very brief. Sometimes the briefest ones are the most memorable. How about this one? How many times have we heard Shifu bring this teaching out to explain to us what just happened when in the process of our cultivation, some disaster followed and we retreated. Then Shifu would come up with this verse, and somehow by hearing this verse, everything was okay. 有的时候商人的寄送短短的就几句而已你看这里20个字可是呢这个字都有用的多少次商人弟子们就修行当中哎呀就往后退了，或者忘了菩提心呢，或者造业呢，那么就会听到师父就说这20个字，听完了好像 try your best, everything's okay. 一切是考验，看儿怎么办？对境若不是，须在从头练。Everything's a test to see what you will do. Mistaking what's before your face, you'll have to start anew. 那你就再来吧。师父 would say, try again. Try your best. This next one is called The Mute Speaks Dharma, and I have a personal story about this one. I'm going to bring up this. Here's a picture of Master Hua whisking 2 monks who had fallen into a strange state. Shifu appeared in Pacifica with his whisk in hand and whisk, whisk. And it's as if the clouds parted and the sun came out. 这首寄颂呢是跟本人有关的。这个你看2个比丘在马路旁边散步一拜，师父呢他手上一个白符，他就这个昏在挥在空中好像万里青天万里乌云就问题就没有了。这个是很妙的境界了。So what's the story here? This is when we, myself and Bhikshu Hung Chao, Marty Verhoeven had made it into San Mateo County. We crossed through Devil's Slide and we're heading down to Pacifica. And we had not seen our teacher for a month or more. And boy, out there on the road, it's easy to get into all kinds of weird states. So Shifu showed up in Pacifica, and with him were, if I'm not mistaken, maybe she can correct me, but Susan Anderson, who went on to become Bhikshuni Hengliang. There was Susan, and Upasika Fangguo Wu, and also the Chinese author Xie Bingying. Shifu had got Mrs. Xie out to Pacifica to make an offering to the bowing monks. Now, for the last some weeks, I had been preparing in my mind a poem. I wanted to surprise Shifu with a Chinese poem. And of course, I wanted him to be very impressed with my ability to write a poem in Chinese. Oops, false thought. I didn't catch it. And instead of bowing and concentrating, I had been honing my Chinese poem. So Shifu came out to Pacifica, and I asked him his opinion of my poem. 就那天那个两个比丘就到了一个叫 Pacifica 我们已经经过这个魔鬼山 Devil Slide， 我们就没有多久就会到了旧金山。已经1个月都没有看到师父，师父还没有出来，1个月就没看见他的慈脸，所以呢，就很容易就找一些警戒了。哇，那天看到师父高兴那个我呢，就那个时候应该有2个礼拜了，我心里就打一个妄想，我就说，哎，我想写一个寄送。就用中文写我念给师父听，他一定会觉得他这个弟子，美国弟子会用中文写寄送，不错你那个是什么？那个叫妄想有所求名我没有感觉到了，所以呢，师父来了，我就说好，机会到了。So had I recognized my own false thought, I think it would have been a better outcome. Here's what happened. I said, Shifu, I wrote a poem, Shifu. And of course, this was the only time I could talk, was when I saw my teacher. I had not spoken for, at this point, 1.5 years. So I said, Shifu, I have a poem. And he looked at me, and he got that look in his eye. And I think that's the look that we all saw when Shifu matched couplets. Which is a story I'll tell in a few minutes. But Shifu, you could see his ears perked up. And so he said, okay, let's hear it, he said. 然后呢我们吃完了饭我就说那个时候我不讲话，就是能看到师父我才能讲话。我就说师父弟子果真写了一首寄送能念给师父听吗？商人他就好啊，你念给我听吧。我说言辞便宜，经书多，精神宝贵，稀有佛。梦中只语李珠念，绝后尽气为众说。That's what I read to Shifu. And it goes like this. Words are cheap, but energy is precious. Sutras are priceless, and Buddhas are few. Still dreaming? Stop talking, and do no false thinking. Awakened? Speak Dharma with all that you do. Now, you can see my false thinking here. Words are cheap, but energy is precious. What am I doing? I'm praising myself, the fact that I wasn't talking. I wanted Shifu to pay attention to that. Sutras are priceless. Buddhas are few. Of course, thinking, well, maybe I can be another Buddha, right? Still dreaming? Stop talking. Do no false thinking. unaware that I was doing the most false thinking. Awakened, speak Dharma with all that you do, become a bodhisattva, right? So you can see the seeking and the selfishness and the attachments in this verse. So what happened? What happened was, without asking to hear it even a second time, Master Hua said, your verse? He said, I'm going to change it for you. And he did. And Shifu gave me the verse back, only he changed just a few words and turned the meaning entirely around into a mirror where I could look and see my selfishness and my pride and my arrogance and my false thoughts. Uncanny. What did Shifu do? 我念给师父听，师父就说好，他说那你听听看，我给你改几个字。言辞虚妄，狡辩多，宝贵精神可成佛。梦中只语无刹念，觉后原来已自没。他说，你看，我说言辞便宜，经数多，商人就说你的言辞就虚妄，你的狡辩多。我说精神宝贵可成佛，他就说宝贵精神可成佛，完全让我回光返照。就是因为我不会宝贵自己的精神，所以还是凡夫，还那么多无明。他说你真的能宝贵你自己的精神，你也可以成佛，你不认识吗？然后第三句他说那个可以的，我就改一个字，他是差，你说无助念的无刹念比较好，他说那个可以，梦中只语无刹念，觉后原来已自没。他说进气那不行，你不要进气，进气就死了。他说觉后原来已自没，明心见性，没有你那么多啰啰嗦嗦的妄想啊，你听得懂吗？我真的哑口无言，师父怎么会就改几个字就给我一个当头棒喝，说那你现在认识吗？商人是一个就说无圣的文人。Master Hua said, your words are false. Your excuses are many. When you value your energy, you can become a Buddha. Still dreaming? Stop talking. Do no false thinking. Awakened? There was never even one word in it at all. Right? I have to say, I left home to follow my teacher and dropped everything else in order to learn from him. But I have to say, when he took my poem and turned it around to be a mirror for me to see my false thinking and my selfishness, my estimation of Shifu went through the roof. I said, words are cheap, sutras are many. Let's see, words are cheap, energy is precious, sutras are few, sutras are priceless, Buddhas are few. Shifu said, no. It's not that words are cheap, it's that your words are false. That's why I gave you the name Guozhen, the fruit of the truth. Your excuses are many. You're always giving yourself room to squeak out instead of really cultivating. When you value your energy, you can become a Buddha. This line, I said, energy is priceless, or I said, Jing Shan Bao Gui, energy is priceless and Buddhas are few. He said, no, you don't value your energy. If you did, you would have become a Buddha long ago, but you keep running outside. So when you value your energy, you can become a Buddha. It's like, And then he said, third line, not bad. I'll change one word. Still dreaming, stop talking, do no false thinking. When you wake up, you'll understand that all of your words are just like bubbles of foam on the ocean. There wasn't even a single word in it anywhere in the enlightened mind. Oh my goodness. 你看 他就改了几个字，把那个意思完全不一样了。那么这就是一个善知识啊，精神宝贵变成宝贵精神。我是出家，跟随上人做他的出家弟子，就学他所有上人愿意教我们的弟子们的法，我都愿意学。可是那天师父把这个寄送就立地改过来了，我对于我的师父呢就说五体投地了。So what did I do? I bowed. I bowed to my teacher. Said, wow. All right. So what is this? This is a 开示 given at a Chan session. People may or may not know that traditionally in a Chan monastery, when you start a 7-day Chan session or you close a 7-day Chan session, if the teacher can do it, he writes a verse. And especially in the early years, this one was from 1972. I was present for this one. In the early years of Gold Mountain, Shifu would always write a verse to start the Chan session to kind of set you on the trail, and then a conclusion, which was to say, well, you know, if you didn't get enlightened, try again, sort of thing. So this is one of those. And behind this, you should know there are many other Chan session talks, Chan session verses that are in the book in our collection of Master Hua's collected literary output. 这个打禅期，这个上座或者这个方丈谁在那儿带领那个禅期，还没开始第一天，他都要提一个寄颂，然后念大家把那个香板就去，就把这个精神提起来了。就那个时候师父都会这样做，他都会提一个寄颂，然后呢，最后一天第7天这个禅期结束了，那么师父也会说一个那个期末的这个寄颂，这是传统的方法。那么商人都会这样做。我们的那个专辑里边都有很多，这是一个代表。Okay, let's hear it. It goes: 提得起，放得下，念佛是水，哈哈哈。放得下，提得起，谁是念佛？嘻嘻嘻。不是你，不是我，你我之间人太多，也是你，也是我。须弥大道，谁也没。跟我们上一个寄颂一样的最后一个字。Pick it up, let it fall. Who's mindful of the Buddha? Ha ha ha. Put it down, let it go. Who's the Buddha mindful of? Ho ho ho. It's not you, it's not me. Between you and me, there are too many people here. It is you, it is me. But when Sumero topples, who will there be? Isn't that good? Wow. 有的时候商人都会写一个寄颂，就对某某一个修行人的机缘那个他都会就也是其中在那本书里边了。这个呢是告诉我们真正能入禅定、初禅、2禅、3禅、4禅，有那个禅定波罗蜜是怎么一回事？这首寄颂呢是一步一步就深入 禅定啊，真正的境界了啊。所以这个我特别喜欢。This is one of my very favorites of Shifu's occasional verses. Sometimes we didn't know who was the reason for a particular verse, but Shifu would just, on certain occasions, just bring forth a verse to instruct all of us. This gives us step by step through the stages of the dhyanas, of Chan meditation. So you go through the first, the second, the third, the fourth stage of Chan, and this is the process in this verse. What a wonderful thing to have a teacher who knows how to do it and how to lead others there too. 天真活泼亦无邪，向心离相即妙绝。大地少成民对待，虚空粉破了分别。灵光毒药照法界，蜘蛛在包养牟尼，不垢不净不来去，脉息念珠况性邪。Be purely innocent and buoyant, free of crooked thoughts. Tame the mind, go beyond appearances. This is the wonderful secret. Then the earth melts away and even dualities are gone. Empty space breaks apart. All discriminations cease. Your magic light shines alone to illumine the universe. The wisdom pearl is in your grasp. Guard the Mani jewel. Neither defiled nor pure, it doesn't come or go. Your pulse stops, your thoughts cease. The mad nature comes to rest. Okay. I'm going to change the order here, and we're going to do this. We're going to do a song. So the translators will have to shift ahead. We're going to do a song right now. And let's see here. Let's see if I do that. Okay. There we go. People may or may not know that Master Hua was a songwriter, and he wrote songs in English, which is pretty amazing for someone whose English was still in progress. But this is one of those songs that, luckily at the time we had a Bhikshuni Hung Yin, Lonnie Bauer, who was a guitarist and a composer, and she put a melody. So she and Shifu co-wrote this song, but it's to be a song in English that came directly from Master Hua's vows to bring the Dharma to the West, pretty special. 这是一首歌，可能人不知道上人是一个歌手，他写歌。他用英文写歌曲很难得，他自己说我是一个不会英文的人，会写英文的歌不错你们说怎么样所以这个是其中一个我们Lonnie Bauer 把这个曲子就配上人的词。I'm really lucky to study Buddhism, because last life I planted good seeds. Now in this life I met good friends, and a good knowing one to teach me deep wisdom. I think that I will go to Buddhahood real soon. I hope so. My Dharma friends and I together will go to perfect enlightenment, to perfect enlightenment. We'll do it again. Sing right along. I'm really lucky to study, because last life I planted good seeds. Now in this life I met good friends and a good knowing one to teach me deep wisdom. I think that I will go to Buddhahood real soon. I hope so. My Dharma friends and I together will go to perfect enlightenment, to perfect enlightenment. In the book that I showed you, the collected works of Master Hsuan Hua, there are many more songs, many more English songs, indeed. 好的，那么我就说那本书啊，都有很多其他的上人写的歌词歌曲，包括英文的歌曲在内。Okay, did you know that Shifu wrote mantras? Shifu did indeed. He wrote mantras, English language mantras. Doug Powers, a friend of many of us in DRBA, Guoluo Jishi, was a high school teacher at Berkeley High School for 36 years before he retired, and went on to Dharma Realm Buddhist University to teach in the university. So during his time at Berkeley High School, he taught 17-year-olds. This is maybe the hardest grade because these are young men and women who aren't yet entirely adults, and yet they're physically all grown up. They're big and full of hormones and full of changes of adolescence, and they're busy testing their strength. That's what a 17-year-old wants to know is, am I an adult yet? How do I know? So Doug would teach his classes. He specialized in teaching high school juniors and seniors, and these kids sometimes would push back to test him, to see how strong they were against his strength. And of course, he can't get angry. As soon as the teacher gets angry, he's lost his ability to control or teach the students. But it's not easy when you have this 6-foot tall young man refusing your instructions. So one day at Gold Mountain Monastery, Doug came running in, and I said, Shifu. He said to me, can you help me translate? So Shifu said, 果乐怎么样啊? And Doug said, Shifu, he said, I can't get angry, but they're really testing my patience. What do I do? He says, Shifu, they're really pushing on me now. What do I do? Shifu said, I will transmit to you the very first English language mantra. He said, when you get to the place where you just can't take it anymore, you say to yourself, patience, patience, gotta have patience. Don't get angry. 说破鹤. He said, recite it back to me, Doug. And Doug was like, but that's only once, 师父. Can you say it again? Okay. He said, 忍耐,忍耐,需要忍耐,切莫生气,说破鹤. 好,你念给我听. He said, let me hear it. Doug said, patience, patience. What else? Gotta have patience. Patience, patience. Gotta have patience. Don't get angry. 说破鹤. 师父 said, don't leave out the 说破鹤. You got to include that. That's what makes it a good mantra. So Doug says, okay. Let me translate. 商人也会写咒文就是这个真言啊、咒这个陀罗尼他都会写有我们的一个佛友叫果勒居士，他是专门教这个高中，在伯克莱那里就教那个高中17岁的小孩，他们17岁身体已经长大了，可是心还是没有成熟的一半孩子半成人了很不容易教化，很不好教的，因为他们不一定会接受你的教诲，而且呢，你什么时候生气，你对他们发脾气，糟糕了，你就完蛋了不容易教。那么果勒他专门教这些17岁的孩子，就是高中4年、高中3年级的孩子。有一天在君上寺，果勒就跑进来了，他说：“你帮我翻译给师父听。”我说：“好。”他说：“师父，现在我快受不了这些学生啊，我的学生在那考试我真的我用什么办法来师父不生气呢？”那师父就说：“好。”他说：“我有办法，我就把第一个英文咒传给你，好吧？”他说：“忍耐，忍耐，需要忍耐，切莫生气，说不合。”好，你念给我听。那果勒居士就说：“是不是你就念了一次？你可以再一次吗？”好。他说：“忍耐，忍耐，需要忍耐，切莫生气，说不合。你什么时候觉得快要发脾气呢？你就念这个忍辱咒，念了3遍，那就没问题了。好了。” So Doug said, "Thank you, 师父." I could see that he didn't entirely believe, but he was willing to try. So 1 more week passed. Here's Gula. He comes running back into Gold Mountain. 师父, he says, 师父, that mantra, that it really works, 师父. It really works. And 师父 laughed. He said, okay, well, what happened? So Doug said, yeah, he says, there was this really tall football player. He's a big kid, he's taller than I am. Doug is 6'2" or 6'3", this guy, taller than I am. And I said, okay, open your textbooks to page 34. And this kid said, I ain't opening shit. Spit on the floor, testing me. And so ordinarily, Doug said, I would feel my temper rise up. But what I did was I went, patience, gotta have patience. Don't get angry. Sopoha. And I said, okay, I'm going to sit down at this desk. You're the teacher. You come up front. You stand right here. And I pulled him up and I had him in front of the class. And I said, you teach. And I sat down in a desk. And of course, this kid was embarrassed. He hadn't thought that I was going to put him in front of everybody. He's just an adolescent after all. So he said, I don't want to take charge. I said, all right, so open your book to page 34, sit down. So he did. And it was the patience mantra, Shifu. Thank you so much. Shifu said, you underestimate your teacher. 再过1个礼拜，果勒居士跑进来了，他就说：“师父，师父，那个忍辱咒呢，很灵呢。”他说：“真的会见效了。”那商人就笑了，说：“那怎么样啊？怎么一回事啊？”那果勒居士说：“对，我回去了。”他说有一个非常长得很高，就是打那个football 那个足球的一个孩子，一个学生，身体已经长得比我高。那天我就说好了，大家打开你的课本呢，第34页。他说：“我才不打开那个，吐到的地下。 我就郭罗说，本来在这个情形我都会火就会起来了，可是那一天了，我就说哦，patience patience gotta have patience don't get angry 说不好，我念了3遍，他说哦，我就奇怪，他说那个火就没有了，我就说 OK 好了好了，我就把那个孩子拉到那个课室的前边，我说你今天是你来教我当你的学生，我坐下。哦，那个孩子他就是一个青少年，他就不好意思，他就面红了，他说我不会教。我说哦 OK，那你就坐下吧。第34页打开，我就说啊，然后他说就是因为记得那个忍辱咒，所以呢那天呢我就降服这些孩子啊。他说那个忍辱咒真的灵了，师傅。那师傅就说，哼，你们都不知道，你们这么好一个师傅。好了 okay, so everybody together from wherever you're sitting, and we have people listening today from all over the planet. I want you to practice with me. Are you ready? In English, here we go. Patience, patience, gotta have patience. Don't get angry. 说不喝。好了，大家无论你坐哪里听我讲演一起好了，我们练习一下。Ready？ 准备好。忍耐，忍耐，需要忍耐，切莫生气。说不喝，很灵了。Now, Shifu occasionally would write a praise. In this case, he wrote a praise for his comrade from Zhuangchengxian, Twin Cities County in Dongbei, in Manchuria, the Catholic Cardinal of China, Paul Cardinal Yubin. And he signed it from the Changbaishan Sung, the monk from the tall white mountains. 这首寄送呢是上人纪念他的同胞，这个玉炳书记主教就是天主教的书记是从师父同一个像他们是同像，一个信天主一个信佛陀他们成人之后才会面那么师父呢就知道玉炳书记在维蒂看在哪里，在罗马就去世了，他就写这个寄送。白山黑水玉其英，富贵荣华碧绿青。天主耶稣名体用，人心佛性物圆用。慎终追远民德厚，举功尽瘁古道风。大在书记玉主教，一心万事重养尊。White mountains and black waters nurture an uncommon hero. Shunning wealth and glory, his tattered shoes were light. God and Jesus, exemplars of substance and function. Mind and Buddha nature, awakening to the perfect understanding. Teaching reverence for parents, he inspired the people to virtue. Loyal and trustworthy, he bolstered ancient mores. Great you were, Cardinal Yubin. Your style set a model for every generation. All beheld your bearing with honor and esteem. I remember the first time I read this, I had tears in my eyes. And it had to do something to do with the leader of the Mahayana Buddhist tradition in the West, celebrating the leader of Roman Catholicism in the West, both of them coming from the same hometown. One a Catholic, one a Buddhist. Master Hua in this verse goes without any thought of there being a difference. The only value here that matters is personal virtue. 上人是佛教的灵修玉书记是天主教的灵修他们是两个 都到西方来，就说弘扬他们的信仰，他们的宗教啊。可是呢，上人他不分彼此，他不分门别类了，他就说什么重要呢？就是道德重要。我记得我第一次读到这首偈颂，我就眼睛就流泪了，就太感动了。This next verse is one that it's so terse, and yet it carries so much, such a scope. This is a magical verse. And it's, again, sometimes it's the shortest ones that have the most power. 这首偈颂呢，是范围广大，短短的4句偈颂呢，可是包罗万有啊，尽虚空遍法界都在这首偈颂。法界为体，有和外，虚空使用，无不容，万物平等，理分别，一念不生，绝言宗。With the Dharma realm as your body, what could exist outside of it? With all of space as your field of action, what does it not include? All things in creation are equal and the same. Go beyond discriminations to the place where words don't travel, and before a single thought comes forth. There is the Buddha nature right there in 4 lines. 4句偈颂里边包括佛性。All right, how are we doing? Everybody okay? 大家还好吗？是不是已经饱了，不想再吃吗？有没有？我说这是非常非常内容非常丰富的，就是短短的几首，那本书里边有2000多首，偈颂、赞文、咒文、歌咏什么的 ，wonderful. All right, let's see here. We got 1, and I think we only have a couple more. Yeah, okay, just a little bit left here. See if we can wrap it up in 15 minutes. Okay, 我们还15分钟吧，差不多了。这首呢，是商人说，现在恐怕人间没有谁能真的听得懂、了解这首偈颂。他说，将来会来一个人，他会就说引用这首，他就可以解释。那个时候那个人都功夫差不多了。他说 ，Master Hua said about this verse called the White Universe. He said, there is nobody currently alive who can completely manage this verse, who knows how to handle it. He said, there is too much in here. Nobody has the gongfu to be able to use this verse, but there is someone coming in the future who will, he said. So we can take some solace from that. 好了，你的功夫够不够？宇宙白，冰天雪地，无数条细虫，东江且至免。静理观察东中身体，龙虎争斗常游戏，鬼哭神号幻化奇。真是意绝言不思议，当进去，大小民内外非，微尘边法界周，无论个缘用互相无碍，双拳打破虚空盖，一口吞尽刹海源，大慈悲普度流血汗，不休息。 Ice in the sky, snow on the ground, tiny creatures beyond number die in the cold or sleep in hibernation. Contemplate in the midst of stillness, investigate in the midst of movement. Wrestling with dragons, taming tigers in constant playful sport. Ghosts cry and spirits wail. Their uncanny transformations are strange. Ultimate truth transcends words. It cannot be thought of. Advance quickly. With large and small destroyed, both inside and outside are gone. Every tiny atom contains the entire Dharma realm, complete, whole, and perfectly fused, interpenetrating with no obstacles. Two fists shatter the cover of empty space, swallow in one mouthful the ocean of every Buddha land. With great kindness and compassion, rescue everyone. Spare neither blood nor sweat, and never pause to rest. 你的功夫够不够? Do you have the kung fu to manage that one? Hope so. Couplets, matching couplets, this wonderful genre where the teacher puts one line down of a certain number of characters, 3, 5, 12, and the students come up and match it with a matching line of 3, 5, or 12 characters, and they have to match in verb, in literary form. Are they verbs? Are they nouns? Are they adverbs or adjectives or numbers? They have to match in meaning, and they have to have a certain flavor before they are a 绝对, a perfect match. Master Hua was the master of matching couplets from his childhood. He said that when he was a student and the teacher would assign a matching couplet to the students for homework, the other students would come to him and say, could you please write it for me? I can't think of a match. Shifu would write it. The student would turn it in. And the next day, the teacher would grab him by the ear and whack him with a stick and say, I know this was your work. They can't match like you can. He said, don't cheat. Well, I didn't cheat. I was just helping out a friend. So I have some of my favorite couplets. These, let me translate that and I'll tell the story here. 对对联啊，这个文字是中国人特别特别喜欢。师父从他的小学生的时候，他是对对联的上手。他说，老师会给他们一些功课，你要把这个上联带回家去，你就对下联，明天回来给我交卷子给我看呢。他上人说他的同学他们都会对他跟前来说我不会对啊，你帮我对吧。师父会给他出下联了，然后第二天那个老师读了，他就把上人的耳朵拉了，他说我知道这是你写的，他们不会对了，你这联一定是你的，他们没有办法。所以那个老师都会知道哪一个下联是师父自己出的那么so in a monastery outside the front door, you'll see couplets. In Berkeley Buddhist Monastery, on both sides of our main Buddha Hall altar, there are couplets written for us by Master Zhang Yunzhong of the Zhonghua Wenwu Xueyuan, our teacher of martial arts and medicine and calligraphy and painting. And Master Jiang proposed some couplets. So we're blessed with couplets from both Shengong Shangren and also from Master Jiang at the Berkeley Monastery. So this art of matching couplets is very special. And some of my favorites are in the Buddhist lecture hall in Hong Kong. And I know because you stand at the bowing bench and you bow for hours, and there are pillars in the very small Buddha hall on the 11th floor at Pao Ma Di in Hong Kong, Wang Nei Chong Lu. And so I looked at these couplets for hours and hours because I would be standing in the Dharma host seat and watch these couplets on the pillars, and I particularly like them. So I wanted to share them with everyone. 在香港佛教讲堂跑马地那里第11楼，这个小小的佛堂，上人出这个对联 就在一个有四个大柱子，每个柱子一个脸，我在中间站在那儿，就很多时候能看到这些对联，我特别喜欢，就选自给大家看的。我刚刚说那个伯克莱那里，我们的大殿，这个大殿的两边有一个对联，这个是张云仲老师傅，这个中华文物学院这个创办人，他提给我们这个对联，我们也他用他的书法，他的文笔来就写了，我们就放在那里，所以 Berkeley 那里我们也有上人的对联，我们也有张师傅的对联啊。How does it go? Here they go. 大发阐明，春生解受福，智德墨化，万国自密兵。Expounding the great teachings will bring blessings to the multitudes. Silent transformations of the highest virtue can generate a global armistice. Okay, here it goes. 大法 big dharma matches with 智德 utmost virtue. 阐明 proclaiming, expounding, 墨化 silently transforming. 春生 multitudes of beings, 万国 10,000 nations. 接受福 everybody gets blessings. 自密兵 themselves pull back their weapons. Isn't that good? It goes from the Dharma out to world peace. I really like that one. 梵网重重，释放诸佛传心地，音声寥寥，一切众生悟性天。The Brahma net unfolds in multiple layers, as do the mind ground transmission by Buddhas everywhere. Resonant voices have lucid clarity, as do the awakened, exalted natures of all beings. How beautiful. From the Brahma net, the net of Brahma up in the heaven of the 33, all the way down to your awakened nature, right? 梵网 就对音声 sound. So the net of Brahma with sound and voices. 重重 multiple over and over again. 寥寥 rolling and rolling, coming and going. 十方诸佛 matches 一切众生 all living beings. 10 Buddhas of the 10 directions matches with all living beings. 传心地 pass on the mind ground. 悟心天 enlighten to the nature's heaven. So good. So good. All right. Let's see here. Okay, we got, yep, just enough time. Okay, let's go quick. This is Jin Shu Kong, another song written by Master Hua in Chinese. It became the alma mater, the school song of Dharma Realm Buddhist University. 这首歌变成我们法界佛教大学的校歌。Anybody knows it? Sing along. 尽虚空，佛性充满了，遍法界有情云瑜伽，众生成佛，佛化同胞，万法唯心造。为心造，团结一致，复兴上教，祈祷所用努力，用梦上道，老大共处自私，知心最好。 七宝之内悉地尘埃，清净光明万佛妙教，万法唯心造，万法唯心造。So it's pretty neat when your teacher gives you the university and then gives you the university song as well, right? 我们的师父不但封给我们一个大学，而且大学的校歌就给我们。People know 动词不攀缘 three great 三大宗旨, but it was the 三大宗旨 of Gold Mountain. City of 10,000 Buddhas has the 6 guidelines. The 3 great principles, which I think are unmatched probably in the Mahayana Buddhist world. Many other monks, according to Shifu, wanted to imitate the Sanda Zongzhi. And you see, Fa Goshan has its creed and Zhongtai has its creed and all, but nothing quite catches the energy and the power of Shifu's Sanda Zongzhi. So we'll conclude today's lecture with these, and if we have a chance, we'll come back and dip in one more time to the collected verses, songs, praises, poems, and mantras of Master Hsuan Hua, also his essays. 这个三大宗旨大家都熟了，东西不攀缘，师父很多年，这就是你都会听到这个。其实这个三大宗旨是金山寺的三大宗旨，商人就到了美国，他就出这是一个宗旨啊。其他的很多大德高僧，他们建立他们的道场都会出这些宗旨啊。可是恐怕很少能跟三大宗旨来比，他的狮子吼五味说，百兽闻之皆闹裂，向上奔波是却微，天龙寂听生心愿。Here we go. 动死不攀缘，饿死不华缘，穷死不求缘。随缘不变，不变随缘，保定我们三大宗旨。舍命为佛事，造命为本事，正命为僧事，即是明理，明理即是，推行祖师，一脉心传。Freezing the death we do not scheme. Starving to death we do not beg. Dying of poverty we ask for nothing. According with conditions, we do not change. Unchanging, yet we still accord with conditions. We adhere firmly to our 3 great principles. We renounce our lives to do the Buddha's work. We take the responsibility to mold our own destinies. We rectify our lives as the Sangham's work. Encountering specific matters, we understand the principles. Understanding the principles, we apply them in specific matters. And in this way, carry on the single pulse of the Patriarch's mind transmission. All right. Well, the time has come. We still have to transfer the merit. And to do so, we're going to use a slightly different one than we're used to using. Why? It's because the COVID pandemic is still raging and around the world. And as Mahayana Buddhists, we have a wonderful method which comes to us from Medicine Buddha, Yao Shifu. And this is his mantra. In the 10 small mantras, this is number 6. We do them every morning. And if we, Mahayana disciples and Theravada disciples and Christian and Islamic disciples, doesn't matter. If we, as we go through our rounds every day, can recite this mantra, here is in Sanskrit, but if you want to do it in Chinese, it's the Namo Boche Fadi. That's the one. Look it up in your yellow book. If you can do it in Sanskrit, it really has a wonderful power, not only to keep our minds in place and free of fear of COVID, but also it projects wholesome energy out to the world and your environment, wherever you are. So you can truly be a benefit to others if you can learn to recite the Medicine Buddha's mantra. And all the goodness that comes from our lecture today, all the happiness, here is, by the way, I want to show, here's a picture of Shifu lecturing. Maybe many of our verses were written right in this room at Gold Mountain. Here's 这个是上人在黑板前很多今天所念的这些偈颂等等，就在这个斋堂里边，金山寺的斋堂，你也可以看到这个录音机还有打字机。上人他70年代所讲的法，我们都用这些工具来记录。Down below here, you can also see Shifu's his tape recorder and typewriter that we captured most of those verses in the 70s. Shifu's teaching on those, all of his sutra lectures. Okay, so please learn Medicine Buddha mantra. We will transfer the merit of today's lecture. As far as your mind can reach, use the power of this mantra to do that job. 那就我们就用药师观顶真言南无波切法地，我们10小咒里边的第6，用它今天来带我们这个功德福报善根，愿你往外布施回向，我们就用这个药师观顶真言的力量来把它推广啊。那么我们每天能念这个药师观顶真言，这是汉传佛教的一个对治这个病毒的疫情的一个正法的代表。什么时候到这个人有病痛的时候，什么地方呢？我们都可以心里念南无波切法地毗沙舍诸如毗琉璃波罗婆诃那舍耶达陀揭多耶阿罗诃提三藐三菩多耶达智陀南毗沙舍毗沙舍毗沙舍三摩揭谛娑诃也可以啊，或者我们就用这个梵文，你时时能记得，不但自己都会保护，而且呢，你能把任何的环境都会镇定，都会把它安详。所以多念这个梵文的咒，中文的咒呢，你就是跟着就是汉传佛教大乘菩萨的心上一样的。好，现在发你们的回向愿。Let's make our vows to transfer. Bhagavate Sajja Vaidurya Prabharajaya Tathagacaya Arahate Samyak Sambuddhaya Yata Vasaji Vasaji Vaisajya Samukate Swaha Bhagavate Vasaja Vaidurya Prabharajaya Tathagacaya Arahate Samyak Sambuddhaya Yata Vasaji Vasaji Vaisajya Samukate Swaha. Let's try it all together. Here we go. Bhagavate Vaisajya Vaidurya Prabharajaya Tathagacaya Arahate Samyak Sambuddhaya Yata Vasaji Vasaji Vaisajya Samudgate Swaha. Now, before we're done, we can bow to the Buddhas. Here are some Buddhas that we can bow to. I'll ring the bell, and wherever you're sitting, if you would care to bow 3 times. 我们可以礼佛3拜，你坐哪里就做3个温馨就好了。好，1温馨，2温馨，3温馨。Bow in respect to the Venerable Master Ding Li Lao Ho Shang. OK， 我们就到此为止。金庸师有没有什么要报告呢？
You can go first. I'll make a quick announcement. Appreciate very much your lecture. I'll talk to you later to arrange another time for you to.
好的 ，OK， we can talk tomorrow. Good. 好，阿弥陀佛 ，Bye everybody. 阿弥陀佛。
我这边有稍微跟大家报告一下下礼拜天的 just a brief announcement for next Sunday. And we have the girls' school students give us reflection twice already. And next Sunday is going to be a boys' turn. We have like a, let me see, did I share the screen? Sorry. Okay. 下礼拜我们有南校的学生、毕业生和大家来谈谈他们的感言。那前2次有女校的毕业生和我们谈过他们感言，所以现在换到南校的学生。今年南校只有4个毕业生，不像女校有15位。So this time we have 4 students graduating from boys' school. And not like a girls' school. The girls' school has like 14, 15 students. So that's pretty much it. And the same room link, everything the same. I'll provide the YouTube link later. Zoom 的连接还是一样的 ，YouTube 的连接以后再和大家分享。And I'll certainly arrange another time for Reverend Isha to come back to continue. He has more verses, stories to share with us. 那我会再找一个时间，请施法师再回来，继续和我们分享上人的寄送等等。他准备了很多，今天没有讲完，我们就再找个时间请他回来。Okay, so much for that, and thank you very much for your attention and participation. 那我们今天就到这边结束，感谢大家的参与聆听。阿弥陀佛。